Greetings, fellow seekers of truth, fellow adventurers into the macabre, and welcome to the world of the unexplained.
Arnie, you don't happen to know the circumstances under which the 8-piece chicken bucket I had in the refrigerator turned at some point in the course of the night into a 6-piece, do you?
There are no explanations.
Good Lord, what happened in here? I told you, Arnie, if you let the den go too long between dustings, it'd only be a matter of time before another Spirit Halloween store tried to set up inside it. Time for another call to the exterminators, I guess.
It's not a Halloween store. These are the mystical chambers of Arnie's world of the unexplained. A portal to the paranormal.
Ah, as represented by the plastic spiders, I see. So what, you're a ghost hunter now?
Not quite. I'm an internet ghost video aggregator. It requires even fewer qualifications, and it's social media gold. Now, if you don't mind, I'm recording an ominous introduction here.
Oh, well, of course not. Please don't let me wandering through my own house put even the slightest damper on your ambitions of wallowing in the lowest rungs of gullible internet stupidity.
Thank you. I bid you welcome, seekers of dark knowledge, explorers of the occult, for you see, man lives in the sunlit world of what he believes to be reality. But there is, unseen by most, an underworld, a place that is just as real,
but not as brightly lit.
Hi now.
I'm pretty sure you've lifted the opening narration from Tales from the Dark Side, Arnie.
It's an homage.
Ah, yes, in the same sense that counterfeiter Frank Barrasa's works were an homage to the $20 bill.
Let me just do this, okay? You're ruining the atmosphere.
I'm pretty sure it's actually your discount grab bag of remaindered incense sticks and factory second-scented candles that are ruining the atmosphere, Arnie.
Those are for any spirits that may manifest in the room during the presentation.
What is the idea to render them visible by instantly coating them in a quarter-inch thick layer of pumpkin spice-scented smoke particles?
There's also caramel apple scent, spice cider scent, and graveyard dirt.
You got a graveyard dirt-scented candle?
What? Oh, no. I have a jar of actual graveyard dirt. I've had it for a while, don't get much chance to use it.
Go figure.
Now then, let's begin our journey into the unexplained. Our first video comes from YouTube user Fifferty-Sore and is titled Dorm Room Poltergeist. We begin with the cameraman already in a panic, having...
Wait, hold up, Arnie.
What?
Are you sure you should be the one narrating this?
I mean, it's Arnie's world of the unexplained.
Right. It's just your general timbre of voice.
What about it?
It doesn't really set the right mood for this sort of thing, does it? It's like being told a ghost story by Speedy the Alka-Seltzer.
I suppose you guys can do better?
Chen?
It was a dark and stormy night.
Ah, drat. Fine.
Our first video by YouTube user Fifferty-Sore, purportedly filmed in a dormitory at Texas A&M, begins with the cameraman already in a breathless panic, or possibly having just completed a strenuous workout, frantically scanning a decidedly unkempt dorm room for the source of some otherworldly noise. Cautiously, the cameraman makes his way down an ominous hallway towards an unlit room where, just before arriving, a mattress that was leaning against a wall falls over.
No.
Oh, please.
The cameraman steps away but quickly turns around when confronted by the sounds of a door banging open and shut behind him. He opens the door to find a bathroom in mild disarray with the shower curtain lying in the tub, but nobody there. Finally, he exits the bathroom and glares accusingly at his laundry detergent before giving up and shakily exiting the door.
Now that is some powerful evidence.
Powerful evidence of what? Lousy housekeeping, community theater grade acting.
What, a mattress flew off the wall by itself?
A mattress flopped onto the floor, Arnie. It went from a mostly vertical position, which you'll note most mattresses are not engineered for, to a horizontal position, which they are. If the opposite had happened, that would have been impressive.
It was leaning against the wall. If it was going to fall naturally, it would have just slid down, not fallen out. The only way it could fall this way is if something pushed it.
Right, that's a mark of ironclad authenticity there. How could any earthly force possibly push a mattress over?
You don't see anybody pushing it in the video.
You barely see anything in the video. It was filmed in a pitch-black room at 144p using a 2003 model Nokia cellular potato at 10% charge. If Vin Diesel had been in there yanking the mattress over after doing warm-up calisthenics wearing a shiny silver tracksuit, the video would have looked exactly the same.
And what about the bathroom door? It starts banging, and then when he opens it up, there's nobody inside. But the bathroom is completely wrecked.
Okay, Arnie, this is a dorm bathroom. This is, according to the uploader, a Texas A&M dorm bathroom. A shower curtain liner lying in the tub and a bath mat slightly askew does not make a bathroom wrecked. By college dorm standards, this would be graded as near mint. Where's the discarded toilet paper tubes, the empty but never made it to the garbage deodorant containers, the layer of near-sentient black mildew on the shower tile? Let me tell you something, Arnie. Chen and I have been to college. If this guy had opened the door and there had been a literal bloody red-eyed demon in there screaming back at him, it still wouldn't have been half as scary as what you'd find in our own dorm bathroom by midterms.
At one point, the green stuff growing on our shower curtain came alive and ate a freshman.
Okay. But the door was banging open and shut, and when he opens the door, there's nobody there. How do you explain that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe they flushed themselves. College kids do weird things.
I see we're at an impasse. Let's move on. In our next video, YouTube user Juanita Stam innocently left her phone recording when she set it down during the twilight hours of October 31st, 2014, Halloween. When she came back and reviewed the footage, she found something chilling.
The video begins with Juanita setting down her phone, the camera pointing up at the ceiling of what appears to be Detroit's warehouse district circa 1986. All goes quiet, and then nothing happens. This footage does not appear to be intentionally shot, so we get about 5 solid minutes to get very well acquainted with what appears to be a Bob Marley poster.
Oh, like Jacob Marley. Famous ghost family. It's all coming together.
Finally, after a long stretch of silence, there's a shuffling. And then...
Ah! Aha! There, you jumped.
What was that? Play that back.
There you go. I saw you scream. That is 100% authentic.
That was a jump scare, Arnie. You can make a jump scare with a truck backfiring or a house cat popping out of a garbage can. It doesn't mean there's anything paranormal about it.
Then what did we just see passing by the camera?
I don't know. It was filmed from 3 inches away in somebody's storage closet.
So it might be a ghost.
It might be, yes. Note that this is a separate and distinct condition from probably is a ghost or even could plausibly be a ghost. It has a more or less equal chance of being a Vietnamese pot-bellied pig or NBA superstar LeBron James or a Smurf.
So that's a maybe.
Looking at it now, it's probably just a close-up of somebody's hand reaching across the phone and then pulling back while holding something, and the sound is just friction as it brushes against the microphone.
Do you see how the entity's head is perfectly round? Perhaps this was the ghost of a 19th century diving instructor, come back to ward off intruders from his underwater treasure, not realizing that the body of water he'd hidden it in had been drained and turned into a housing development.
Tell us, Arnie, what is your standard for plausibility?
Well, as a talking ground squirrel, I admit I leave the starting blocks a little ahead of the gun, but that's no excuse to immediately poo-poo every piece of compelling evidence we bring on here.
A guy posting a blurry cell phone video of an artichoke in a dark room and saying it's ghost footage doesn't automatically make it a piece of compelling evidence.
Okay, fine. You want something with a little clout behind it, a little fame, something weighted down with the gravitas of history? Let me tell you about... the Villisca Axe Murder House. On June 9th, 1912, in the dark of night, a house in the small town of Villisca, Iowa, became the site of one of the most grisly multiple murders in the history of the United States. An entire family of 6, along with their 2 young house guests, were killed with an axe by a murderer who was never brought to justice. When police investigated the crime scene, they found that only the father, Josiah Moore, had actually been cut by the axe blade. Everyone else had been bludgeoned viciously and repeatedly with a blunt end until death took them. Investigators found the next day that every mirror in the house had been covered with an item of clothing, as if the killer could not bear to witness his own despicable reflection. The murder weapon itself was left behind, partially cleaned and leaning against a wall, and beside it, police found a 4-pound slab of bacon, which had been removed from the icebox as if the killer had been planning to make a sandwich, but then decided that he wasn't really that hungry just then, and maybe he'd come back to it later, and honestly, I've been there. Frankly, I'd say they were asking for trouble from the day they named it the Villisca Axe Murder House. Nothing good was going to happen there.
Well, Arnie, that was definitely a gruesome story, and arguably in very poor taste.
Well,
don't say anything about the bacon.
Wasn't gonna.
But that's not a ghost story, that's a dead person story. I realize the differences can be subtle.
I was getting to the ghost part. See, following years of difficulty moving the house in the residential real estate market for obvious reasons, the house was converted into a historic hotel and has become a perpetual magnet for paranormal activity. Guests report hearing the disembodied sounds of children giggling, along with blood-curdling screams. Inanimate objects move by themselves, lights flicker, electronic devices lose their charge, and mysterious lights appear in the hallway. Some guests have even reported feeling as if they have been possessed by malevolent spirits.
So just to be clear, Arnie, you're telling me that a hotel that sells itself on its image as a haunted murder house and thus has a vested commercial interest in maintaining a reputation for paranormal activity is somehow surrounded by perpetual rumors of paranormal activity. Shock and wonder.
Hey, you wanted claims of the paranormal with some backing. These have serious numbers behind them. Literally hundreds of guests have reported these phenomena over the years.
Sure, quote-unquote phenomena. Anybody who stayed at a hotel where multiple children were present know that childlike giggling punctuated by blood-curdling screams is just their natural state. Parents automatically tune it out after the first few weeks.
And what about inanimate objects moving by themselves?
Hey, I'll play fair. If they have something like a cursed doll that suddenly comes alive and starts strangling people while chanting Latin, then on my word, I will monitor that situation with all the attentiveness that is warranted by both my scientific curiosity and my general proximity to it. Is that the sort of thing we're dealing with, Arnie?
I mean, well, maybe, but the stuff that's been reported has been more along the lines of, balls rolling down empty hallways or water bottles being knocked over or car keys getting misplaced.
I see. Let's be honest, Arnie, even if any of that is ghost activity, it really doesn't say much for the ghost showmanship. Bottle shenanigans and hidden key pranks are, by any measure of interest, a significant downgrade from multiple axe murders.
Well, yeah, but nobody ever said it was the murderer's ghost. He got away. We don't really know who's haunting the hotel, so who's to say it's out of character? As a for instance, all history really tells us about the first victim, Josiah Moore, is that he couldn't handle an axe to the face.
History being the one Wikipedia article you skimmed over for this.
I'm just saying it's kind of lightweight as a defining character trait. For all we know, it could be a hotel haunted entirely by ghost children, in which case hidden item pranks would be basically on point. Anyway, you have to admit that being able to move anything at all is pretty good for most dead people.
Well, touche.
And let us not forget the reports of visitors experiencing feelings of possession by violent, malevolent entities.
Yeah, I think that's common to a lot of dads on overnight road trips with small children. Chan, do you remember Father on the third night of our camping trip to Yellowstone?
Even now, there are some very old bears and bison wandering the park who still suffer PTSD from the yelling.
Our next video comes from the extremely popular spirit hunting channel Hasan Bar Bar, hosted by Hasan, who regularly investigates abandoned buildings and has been very successful, some might say suspiciously so, in capturing compelling videos of the supernatural. Here is some terrifying footage from just one of his adventures.
In this video, Hasan is treading carefully down the long hallway of a derelict building when his flashlight picks up something unusual at the far end. Drawing closer, a small, dark shape, perhaps a jacket hung on a chair or a very short Sith Lord, becomes plainly visible in the far room. As Hasan moves forward, an otherworldly force slams the hallway door against its frame, the force of which opens the room wide and reveals the figure in all its motionless horror, its robe or cape billowing in the disturbed air. Hasan moves forward, uttering a frantic prayer as the doors continue to slam open and shut, and the figure stays motionless, clearly engaged in something more interesting than terrorizing the living. This continues for some time until the figure, having possibly finished up its crossword puzzle, terrifyingly waddles off to the right behind the slamming door. With the danger potentially abated, Hasan proceeds forward to the room, enters, pauses a moment, swings his camera over to the left side of the room that the figure clearly did not head towards, and then turns to the right to reveal that there was a lot of space the figure could have disappeared into if it were so inclined, frankly, and the video just kind of goes on like that for another 12 minutes or so.
Disturbing footage indeed. But we leave the final judgment to you, dear viewers. Is this genuine footage of the supernatural, or could it possibly be a clever hoax?
Are you serious, Arnie?
Well, yeah. I wouldn't presume to speak for the audience, however compelling the imagery. I assume you have thoughts on the matter that you're just dying to share.
I mean, in all fairness, the video footage does come across as genuinely creepy.
Oh, yeah?
Given that it is complete and utter horse poop.
I know it.
Here in Olive Branch, Arnie, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know the language, so maybe what he's saying here is, oh no, there's my cousin Amar, I owe him money, he likes to hang around inside condemned buildings dressed as Batman. I'm just going to shine my flashlight on him and pretend I'm a cop and see if I can get him to bugger off before he gets a good look at my face.
What makes you so sure it's not an evil spirit?
The burden of proof really doesn't lay on this side, Arnie. Let me just lay this out for you. This guy has a massively popular YouTube channel, yes?
Almost 500,000 subscribers.
And he's uploading pretty regularly, is he?
Oh yeah, 5-6 times a week.
Okay, and he's been active for a few years, so of the hundreds of spirit investigations that he's posted, what percentage of them would you estimate have ended with him going, well, nothing happened all night. I guess that was just an ordinary old building after all. Sorry to have wasted your time.
I mean, I haven't watched them all, but probably zero. People really wouldn't tune in if that was all they got.
Yes, do you see where we're heading with this?
Not a clue.
Okay, Arnie, ghost investigations. Some people have done this sort of thing their entire lives, and all they have to show for it are maybe the sounds of pipes rattling on a cassette tape. But this guy goes out multiple times a week, and he's coming back regularly with full-bodied, full-on Casper at a house party spirit footage that lasts for minutes at a stretch.
Yeah, he can really pick 'em, can't he?
So could P.T. Barnum. Just one last question, Arnie. A guy like this, a guy who goes into basically any random old building and is all but guaranteed to step on a ghost, why hasn't he ever taken a few legitimate researchers along with him to independently verify this solid evidence of the spiritual plane and immediately become one of the most important individuals in the history of the world?
Oh, that is so very you to ask that. Not everybody's in it for fame, you know. This guy is clearly doing this as a public service just to help people.
Helping them by...
Okay, our last video has made the rounds of the internet for some time now. The original source is unknown, but enough people have found its contents notable for us to include it here. Roll 'em!
In this video, a rabbit is taking an evening constitutional, unaware of the horrors he will soon face, as from frame right a disembodied pair of pants come tearing through the scene, filled apparently with nothing, and drawing the curiously tepid interest of onlookers. The video cuts off abruptly, probably because the cameraman got knocked over by Wallace and Gromit in hot pursuit.
So, there you have it. Now, I've watched this footage several times, and frankly, I am not convinced.
Really now? Of all the malarkey you've seen tonight, this is the one that's a bridge too far. Is it because the video was uploaded anonymously?
What? No, of course not. Anonymous reporting is the backbone of the paranormal news industry. You let your name get attached to a piece of dynamite like this, you're gonna wake up to a deep tissue massage from the Men in Black. No, my thing is, if this really was a ghost, why would only the pants be visible? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I suppose that is following a certain kind of
More
logic.
likely it's a well-coordinated team of forest gnomes standing on each other's shoulders and working undercover.
Okay, I knew we were getting there one way or another.
And that's a wrap on this episode of Arnie's World of the Unexplained. We'll see you next time when the veil between this world and the next is once again at its thinnest. Until then, this is Arnie T. Ground Squirrel, fading into the ether.
I can still see you, Arnie.
No, you can't.
Like the video gamers? We have more such wonders to show you, and all you have to do is subscribe and hit the notifications button.
I mean, you don't have to.
Also consider becoming a patron by following the link to our Patreon page, where we turn your cash into videos, comics, and games using the darkest of dark magics.
But mostly just cash.